Hello. We just got back from a guitar show, and I bought this guitar from another dealer. And right away I said, oh, it needs a neck set. And he said, how do you know? If you do a lot of electric guitars, you might not be familiar with acoustic guitars. Acoustic guitars really have more issues than amplifiers. There's going to be more stuff that is hidden in the weeds, you might say, for repair. There's a couple of things you can do. One, we've discussed this before, but when a guitar is strung up, if it's strung especially with heavy strings, the neck will pull forward like this, and it sinks, and so I'm going to exaggerate it, it'll pull like this. So you can tell a neck set if it's starting to break away. If you can slip the width of a piece of paper underneath the heel at all, it needs a neck set. But the most obvious way is if you look and see where the saddle is. The saddle on this guitar is really low. As a matter of fact, on this guitar, the high E string doesn't even touch the saddle. So if the saddle, the white thing, is all the way down and your action isn't resting on the fingerboard, it likely needs a neck set. This guitar was played by its original owner, and it does play great. We could put this out, someone would buy it, and probably have fun with it for years and not notice, but the intonation is not going to be perfect, so I am going to send this guitar through our shop. We're going to spend months steaming the neck out and bringing the neck up at an angle like this. So that is really only a few degrees. I exaggerate for the video. Your neck angle will go like this. Also, when you're looking at a guitar, you can hold the strings and tap the top. You can hear a little rattling in the top. That's because your braces are loose. And then cracks. Everybody knows how to do cracks. I won't bore you with cracks. Cracks are bad, but you can push on the crack to see if it moves. And if it doesn't, it might have already been repaired and glued. But when you're out there in the field looking at guitars, those are two things: fret wear, and here's something else. More and more vintage guitars is about the case. This case is kind of a cool two-tone, but cases add value. If you bring us in a guitar, one of the first questions we're going to ask is, what about the case? And original cases become more and more interesting to people that want to keep the guitar together. Many people keep the original case and put their old guitar inside a newer hardshell case. This guitar, by the way, is a Kalamazoo. Now, Collings, one of the finest factories in America, makes a guitar that's called Waterloo. It's a copy of a Kalamazoo. Kalamazoo guitars were made by Gibson. Gibson, during the Depression, wanted to create a budget guitar using the wood supply they already had and the workers they already had, keeping them busy during the Great Depression. They didn't want to tarnish the name. Are you listening to me, Fender? Tarnish the name with cheap copies with your name on the headstock. This is a problem that happened to Charvel and Jackson and Hamer. And Gibson has always been fairly smart about that. So they put out a product called Kalamazoo. When I was a young man, you could buy a Kalamazoo guitar for 75 bucks, 100 bucks. And we always thought they're really cool guitars because this is old wood. Remember too, in the 30s, wood was stored for 20 years before it was prime and dry enough to go. So when you're buying a 30s guitar, you're not just getting 80-year-old wood, you're getting 100-year-old wood that is naturally aged. These are fantastic guitars. They have little items like tapered headstock, it's skinny here and fat here, that our friends at Collings have even copied. It's skinnier here and fatter here. Collings has gone to great lengths to make a Waterloo, which is in the spirit of Kalamazoo. Waterloo, Kalamazoo, get it? They both have ooh sounds at the end. Say it with me. Ooh. So, at this same guitar show, I bought another Kalamazoo. Now this has a little top crack in it. We'll get that fixed. I might put it out in the meantime because our shop is really busy. This time, fixing cracks. And you all should remember, it's very cold everywhere in the States. Don't forget to humidify your guitars. But this too, a solid wood Gibson. This would be similar to other Gibson models. Solid spruce top, maple back and sides. This is a fine Archtop guitar that is very undervalued. Again, Kalamazoo. Ooh. Last thing I'm going to say. You'll occasionally find guitars at Willie's like this one that have a very low saddle. This guitar is a Gibson. It could use a neck set. Neck sets happen because the glue gets soft, hot, cold, tension. When you store your guitars, put on lighter strings. If you're storing an acoustic guitar, put on like 11 gauge, maybe 10 gauge strings if you're going to put it away. If you put 13s on your guitar and you've forgotten about the guitar for a couple of years, you are loosening up that neck joint and creating problems. I feel good about selling. This is a 1974 Blue Ridge, laminated. This is laminated Indian rosewood on this, but these are really a great buy right now. And this guitar, in its price range, is $1,200. People come to us all the time. You got any beat up old acoustics? Yes, we do. You may have to set the neck on this guitar in a few years, but this could last 10 years like it is, as long as you don't put too heavy a string on it. And we've had this guitar here. All solid wood, 70s Gibson, and this, I said laminated, didn't I? This is a solid back and sides on this guitar. So, there you go. I just wanted to go over a little bit because I got this beautiful Kalamazoo in this dark sunburst finish. 30s guitars typically have that little bit of sunburst. It's like sunrise, not sunburst, because it's just barely coming up over the horizon. This is aged. You can see up close here, I'll bring it up, you can see the checkerboard binding on the sound hole. You can see where, if you can see this, the E string doesn't even touch the saddle right here. And you see that? So there's a bit of saddle there, but what we need to do is bring the saddle up. In order to do that, we need to bring the neck up. This is something you want to look for. Maybe I can do this. Can you hear that? There's a little bit of rattle right there. There's a loose brace underneath here. That's something you can do when you're out looking at through the field. All of this can be fixed. Neck sets are $400, $500, generally speaking. And gluing, competent repair facilities like we have, gluing that is not a big deal. We do them every single day and have for 40 years. So that's all for now. We look forward to having you come in. I got lots of stuff, including Waterloos, tall saddle, built the same way as Kalamazoo. Say it with me now. Ooh.